Welcome to the I Can podcast, where we discuss all things blindness related, including, but not limited to, technology, issues, and other topics. I hope you enjoy.
Okay. This month, we're talking blindness awareness and white canes.
Don't forget, you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts, such as included but not limited to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and all the latest models of the Victor Reader.
Careers Plus is designed for young adult and high school students to prepare for high school, middle school, college, and their career of choice. The goal of this podcast is to advocate and educate while fostering a sense of confidence in youth to pursue college and the careers of their choice through interactive, dynamic learning experiences. Hi, I'm Brandy Kubel.
I'm Charlene.
Hi, I'm Mohamed Alamari.
Hello, my name is Alexander Espel.
Paul Gray.
Hi, my name is Anjali.
My name is Anna Wisma.
My name is Lisa Lloyd.
My name's Gordon.
My name is Logan Barantes.
All right, my name is Miguel.
I am Natalie Childs.
Hi, I'm Lex Ariola.
My name is Elizabeth Campos.
Hi, my name is Patricia Figueroa.
So, my name is Aaron Espinoza.
Hi, my name is Rocco.
My name is Pavel Castro.
My name is Randy Owen. According to an online article by the CDC, over 12 million Americans live with visual impairment. As you may or may not know, October is Blindness Awareness Month, with October 15th focusing on White Cane Safety Day. Over the past few weeks, we have been having roundtable discussions on these topics.
Please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell to never miss any of our uploads. Now, on to our episode.
So, what does Blindness Awareness Month mean to us? Is that pride? Is that advocacy? Is it education?
I would say that most of all, it's a chance. And anyone who's who's open to talk, I'm always open to talk about this. But I think it's definitely an even better chance for education, teaching people how I go about my day and how that's different in my life than it would be for someone who didn't have my vision. Who had I don't want to say normal, but like a typical vision, I guess.
Perfectly said, Logan. Really, it's very well said. I agree with you. I see it as a parent. I see it as an opportunity to educate in the education system and elsewhere about the issues that we face on a regular basis.
I also agree with Logan and Lisa that it's about basically education and letting people know what us blind people can do, especially in the education school district system who maybe have never had a blind or disabled child in their school district before or are not well equipped to handle them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I've met several people who are adults, and in my comparison, they're in their later 20s or early 30s, and they don't fully understand what a cane is, so it's just interesting to hear people's perspectives and to see what they have been told or they have picked up themselves, and then telling them, more so how you go through things.
Pavel, what about you? What does Blindness Awareness Month make you think of? Education, advocacy?
Well, all of the above, because, it's hard to get adults to understand I'm a blind person. It's hard for me to get my mom to understand, I can live independently. It's basically just getting adults, other sighted people to understand that blind people can do stuff, live independently.
Patricia, what does White Cane Awareness Day mean to you?
this month for like it's Hispanic Heritage Month, so it's kind of like that, but for blind people. It's where blind people get a space to show their pride.
And it's also an opportunity to bond, right? To bond with each other over our visual impairment or our blindness and, you know, the challenges that is and the overcoming. My visual impairment is part of my identity, right? I mean, coming from this family with 5 generations of blindness, it's ingrained in who I am. It's a piece of me. It's not all of me, but it is a part of me. And it's something I can't separate out. It's in everything I do.
Some people would honestly say that, you know, that their disability is not, you know, a part of who they are. But I think it is. And I'm proud of that. It is part of who I am. It's part of who makes me who I am. So I don't find that shameful, right? But to each his own. I don't fault anybody who doesn't feel that way. That's the beauty of, you know, freedom. Everybody can feel the way they want to feel.
No, like identity first, like saying you're a person that's blind or a blind person, like it comes into play like when you're identifying yourself. Or if you want your blindness to identify you when you're like talking or writing.
I think that's also an important thing because, you know, you have, you know, like you have this disability, but that's not all there is to you. You know, you're not like it's just a 2-dimensional flat. Oh, you know, I'm blind. I have a cane. And, you know, that's it. That's all me.
Well, that's why they say it's a characteristic. Like, I mean, that's why the NFT goes on and on.
It's part of me, but it doesn't make me who I am.
But on the other side, I mean, that's the first thing people see. I mean, it's like when I was in school, when we were talking about like one person, like say we're talking about our friend Aaron, or no, our friend Lupus. So there's 2 Lupus. Which one are you talking about? The short one, or the tall one, the fat one, or the skinny one? Like, there's always that characteristic that's in front of all of the other ones.
I think disability awareness is, for me, more about helping other people to understand what I see and work with every day. Helping Anna, Reshma, and Anja and Lisa, we sort of learn in different ways. I get a better understanding of what's possible and what can be challenging, and ways that I'm able to, just as we would ask for help in other ways or help support one another in other ways, I can better support and encourage and, you know, make more possible for them both. And conversely, what they don't need help with, because sometimes people throw everything into one big bucket and they went, oh, you're visually impaired or you're blind. Well, that must mean you can't see anything. Or, you know, you get sometimes people go, oh, you know, well, what's the disability hanger for? You know, you're driving a car. How is that possible? You know, well, there are different levels of ability and visual ability. And so, you know, even people, you know, when they're walking down the street, they're like, hey, you know, they're sometimes like, hey, you can see me. Why are you using the cane? Again, more awareness about what it really can mean. That, you know, it is a spectrum for all of us. What's possible is also a spectrum. And what we need assistance with is also a spectrum. So for me, I think days like this or, you know, or celebrations like this sort of bring more awareness, more focus on these sort of things, so that as a community and as a, you know, we're a village, global village, we can all help each other better and understand each other better too. And being respectful in terms of how do people identify? It's just more acknowledging and being respectful of, you know, how would you like us to address this? But again, always coming back to, these are individuals who have or are impacted by a particular challenge, not that it's a challenge that happens to have hit a person. So it's Sally or John who happens to be visually impaired, not visually impaired or blind John or Sally, if that makes sense. Again, the focus being more on the person than the challenges they may have in their life.
I am a musician. I sing and record my own covers. And I'm also interested in technology and helping as many people as I can with assistive technology for the blind, because I am blind, so I know a lot about technology. but my blindness doesn't define me.
I'm someone that happens to be blind, but perfectly capable of like getting out there and like doing whatever, almost whatever a sighted person would do, even if it's with assistance, but still doing it.
I'm a student. I love to listen to stories. I love to cook. I love dogs. Not so crazy about math. And I'm blind.
I'm a beginner computer programmer. I am a college student. I love video games, and I happen to be blind.
I'm a college student, and I'm studying to become an assistive technology instructor or an IT professional. On my free time, I like to listen to audiobooks and play video games.
I'm very new to blindness, but I've always I've fought the one look judgment my whole life, like not being old enough, being the wrong race or being the wrong job or whatever. But it's like I'm not my age, I'm not my skin, I'm not my job, and I'm not blindness. So I'm Kyan. I've just always been fiercely and intensely me. But if you really need to know, I'm black, I'm blind, and I'm sexy.
I am more than my disability.
I can. Can you? In an effort to support white cane safety and awareness, in 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson established what would become known as National White Cane Safety Day.
The first cane was made out of wood, and they started with veterans of the First World War. It gained its popularity between those two world wars. And that's actually when orientation and mobility started to become a thing. One of the instructors who trained me, that was his story of why he started teaching orientation and mobility. He was a survivor of the storming of Normandy. And he said he made a promise on that day that he said, if I made it back from this, I was going to do something great. I'll do something with my life that has purpose and meaning. And he said, I was just a kid. And when I made it home alive, and I didn't think I was going to make it on that beach. And when he did, he came back. And he began teaching blind people how to use a cane. It chokes me up every time I think about it. And one of the people that he studied and taught with was Kenneth Jernigan at the Orientation Center for the Blind in Albany. And that's before Kenneth Jernigan went on to work with Tenzing on the East Coast, who was the first president of the National Federation of the Blind. And Kenneth Jernigan became the next president of the National Federation of the Blind. So Jernigan has his roots right here in Northern California. He was one of the very first instructors at OCB. Their orientation and mobility was cutting edge. Bless you, Rich Russo. His training actually got me traveling all around the United States and across the Atlantic Ocean. Everybody has different reasons for doing what they do, and they inspired me to do what I do and pay it forward. Back then, there's some 30 years ago, the canes that they gave us were fiberglass. Long, heavy fiberglass canes, solid fiberglass. You can imagine that's very heavy. So you had wooden canes, you had fiberglass canes, and through the decades, they changed different materials. Now we have super uber light canes. But you could imagine going from wood to fiberglass to, carbon fiber and all kinds of different materials. And there's several different kinds. You have the long white cane, which is, the standard symbol for a cane. You've got an ID cane, which is a very short, skinny cane. Otherwise known as an identification cane. This is a cane that is simply it's not used for mobility. It is just to identify somebody who is visually impaired. Has anybody ever seen an ID cane?
I have, and yeah, just like you described it, they're they're sometimes they are like they come in like the folding cane aspect too, right? So they fold up, but they're very skinny. They usually have like a silicone tip. So yeah, I've seen them before too. I've never used one.
They also have another one that is like kind of a cross between a long white cane and a support cane. And I did not know this, and I've never seen it, but I guess it's popular in other countries. I would be kind of curious to see what it looks like. I did also learn that in other countries, like in Argentina, they have green canes.
That's cool. Why green, Brandy?
The green indicates that somebody is low vision, whereas the white cane means that they are totally blind. In Germany, there is a special law that says that if you are holding a cane and traveling and something happens in an accident and you're blind, you're not responsible for the accident. But if you're not holding the cane and you're a pedestrian, you are responsible for causing the accident. So note to self, when you're in Germany, carry that cane, because if you don't have it and you cause an accident, you're on the hook for it. So what do you think the benefit is of having a white cane safety day?
I think it's to help raise awareness that somebody who has a white cane will not be able to give weight to you. I think a lot of sighted people don't understand that. I know that people coming from other countries don't always understand what the white cane means. And when my dad got hit by a car in May, it was somebody from Colombia, and I don't know if they use a white cane over there, but he didn't really seem to know to give way to my dad. So I think that it's really important to raise awareness so that everybody learns that that person won't see you and you have to give way to them.
Kind of like a follow-up question to Brandy's question is for the students, like how many times or like can you recall a situation where you were the only person that had a cane?
So let me answer both questions. I think White Cane Safety Day is important, as you know, it's important for people to know what this means. I have a cane, so I can't see as well as you can. So I need to do things differently to accomplish my daily tasks or to do different things. So you may see something as odd, or you may not normally do something that like I would need to do because of my I have a cane. I can't see that well. So I think this is just kind of open, like it puts perspective it gives people perspective into what the cane is and why people use it and need it. As answering the second question, I usually don't see people with cane. I mean, ironically, I usually don't see people with canes. I am the only one with a cane in the room. I will say there are times I've gone to my college campus and I've seen other VI students, or when I was in high school, there were obviously a whole bunch of VI students there who used canes. But other than that, I'm pretty much the only person in any given room with a cane.
Yeah, I'm like the only one in like in like my classes at Sac State. I'm the only one that uses the cane, and it feels awkward. I'm not gonna lie.
I always think my cane's a good conversation starter, because a lot of times I get asked what it is or what it's for, or sometimes little kids don't understand, and so it's always a conversation starter, and it's a good time to educate people and bring awareness to what it is. So I don't think you guys should feel awkward. I think you should feel empowered and special in a different way. I always meet people because they just come up and ask me, like, how long have you been using that? How'd you learn how to use that? Or how do you do that? It's kind of like I'm always meeting people downtown asking me, do you count steps, right? Or something. They have no idea, and they're usually curious. So I think you guys should take it as a way to talk to people or meet people or educate as well. So I'm always happy when people are intrigued or again, it's always the little 4-year-olds that go, what are you doing with that? Or are you a wizard? Or are you looking for gold or something? You know, I'm always getting these weird questions. So I always take it as a really good way to start a conversation and educate people, and a good way to meet people too.
Yeah, little kids are like drunk adults. They'll say what's on their mind. So they'll just come up to you and tell you whatever.
And then the parents are like, oh, don't ask that question. Shh, shh, shh. You know? And then I'm like, no, it's okay, because I want your child to learn.
Absolutely. And it's more than okay, you know, and the parents probably want to be the ones asking the question, but the kids do it first, you know? So I always stop and try to let them know and explain it to them as much as I can. And then I talk to the parents as well, but it's always interesting. What I've been finding just recently is, like, me and my wife are doing a project at Home Depot, and as I'm coming up and she's ringing things up, they're like, well, how much is that? I'm like, Paul, she wants to ring your cane up. Like, she, you know, even they don't understand what it is. I think it's a tool or a pool stick or a fishing pole or something. So I'm like, I'm not paying for this. This is free. This is my cane. I can't see that well. You know, I'm blind. So
there have been times like when I'm in a store, because it's like, you know how sometimes stores, they have things on like the high shelf, you know, and so they have these hooks where they have to grab it off the shelf and bring it down. And so there are times people come up to me and they're like, hey, could you reach that for me? And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, reach what? And then I turn around and they see it's a cane and not one of those sticks, you know, to reach for stuff on the top shelf. And it's like, it's just one of those like little fun little anecdotes of the day when it happens.
Hint, you can use it, because you can use it to get clothes off the top rack in the store, just saying, because I've had to do it. So it does work. Just get it in the hanger there.
So it's not just National Cane Awareness Day. It's Get the Clothes Off the Rack Day as well.
Yeah, but I do get sticks sometimes. They'll call my cane a stick. No, it's a cane shirt or a man.
That's something that I hear all the time. I'm on like Reddit all the time, and I'm on the like blind subreddit. That because like other people have the same experience, where it's like some people are bothered by it, others really don't care. And it's interesting because it's like, for me, it's like, it seems like whenever people call it a stick, it's like you can hear in their voice, it's like they're not sure. They're just like, I mean, could you mind moving your stick? You know, so like if I can hear like they're a little confused, I'll try and say, oh, it's this is my cane, but I don't want to be rude and say, oh, it's called a cane. You know, like, so it's very interesting, because what people see like in their mind when they hear cane is, you know, the like arched kind of stick, and not what we use. So I think it's pretty cool and interesting to think about.
And then there's the differences between like ID canes and then to normal canes. Like I say that on Reddit and as well, like on Blind. Like I don't even think people know what an ID cane, like generally in the general public, even blind people or low vision people, like the difference.
So that brings up a good point. When we change the different terms and we change what we call it and that kind of thing, do you think that it helps our cause or hinders it? Does it confuse people?
I think it does. Like I said, like ID cane and then just the normal cane, and then like it confuses the general public and even blind and low vision people, because I think most people know what a cane is, like, but not an ID cane. Like I think it's much shorter, and then it has like the color on the bottom. Like instead of being red, I think it might be another color. But I think it does hinder us right now, because most people aren't educated. They call it a stick and stuff like that, or they'll try to come up with like GPS devices and put it on the cane and like different stuff like that without asking blind people if it's needed or wanted. So I think it does hurt us.
I don't want to sound rude with this, but a lot of the time, people can it could be like general population wise, people can be, you know, like not necessarily ignorant but uninformed on these things. I mean, that's the whole reason why it's called a stick a lot of the time and not a cane. But I feel like having it as a like if you know, there are new names for things that make something more clear or easy for us to understand as a community. You know, people who want who want to learn and, better themselves on these things, they will make the effort to understand what it's actually called instead of assuming that it looks like a stick, so it's a stick, kind of a thing.
We brought Anurishma home from India. She was wearing size 2 clothes, and she was 5 years old, but she was using a cane when she first arrived. And we just noticed the general public's amazement, upset, surprise, their shock. So many people staring, people almost having car accidents, watching her go down the street with her cane and just being so little. So it seems like there's something with, a young child who can't see. A lot of us lose vision over time and throughout our lives, but I guess it's just not that common. They never saw a little girl so little using a cane.
Up until recently, children were not given a cane until they were older than 7. This is a new concept. It's only been in, the last, I'd say 20 or so years that they've been giving children canes when they're as young as 3 to learn their environment and to learn to travel independently as a small toddler. When I was a child, they did not give children canes at 3 years old.
Just as you were talking about that, I've seen recently on TikTok, they've got toddlers, 1 and 2-year-olds that are using belt cane. So imagine a 1-year-old that's learning how to walk, and he's got it's kind of like a weightlifter belt on it, and on each hip is a white cane. Of course, it's small, and it's right where he or she can grab it. And at the end of the canes, they kind of run out parallel to the ground, and then they're connected. There's like a crossbar at the bottom.
There's nothing cuter than watching a little person with a cane. That's so cute, the canes are so small, and teaching someone how to use a cane. And actually, like in advocacy work, like learning that for some blind students, like their parents have to advocate to get them O&M training when they're little and in school. So that's whole nother avenue of understanding that this is a skill that's needed, and how do we get it to little children?
If you would like more information, please visit the Careers Plus page at societyfortheblind.org. You can also email us at icanpod@societyfortheblind.org. That's EYECANPOD @societyfortheblind.org.
Thank you for listening. Bye-bye, everybody.